And we are live.
Welcome to the Fantasmagorium show, everybody. On today's show, the showrunner for Star Wars Acolyte digs midichlorians. Don't be afraid, there is a new Sinestro. And Noah Hawley joins Wayland Yutani. Come with me if you want to live. Steve, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing much better after that amazing intro. Thanks for that. That was pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you, Scott?
I'm okay. It's Canada Day.
Canada Day. What does that really mean?
It's something about the anniversary of the Dominion of Canada under the Commonwealth and Her Glory the Queen. Something like that. I don't know. We drink beer and we barbecue.
Yeah, pretty much what we're going to do on Monday. Speaking of Monday, we want to let everybody know that we will not be doing a show Monday. At least we're not scheduling a show for Monday. If we get some wild hair and decide to surprise all of you, well, then we will pop up and you will be notified. So like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell, so you know when we go and if we go live.
Sometimes it's an emergency. We just have to start.
Yeah, sometimes it's an emergency. Other than that, off the top, we do want to say, please like, subscribe, do all those things. Like we say every day, subscriptions are awesome, but liking, commenting, and sharing, that engagement really helps the channel grow. So we appreciate you doing all those things. Also, if you'd like to leave a tip with your comment or question, we do take those, and we appreciate them very much. We are saving for some graphics, intro, and some music, so we'd love for you to do that. And you can do so at www.streamelements.com/phantasmagoriumshow/tip. Also visit our website, www.phantasmagoriumshow.com. There you'll find all of our episodes, as well as a link to our audio-only podcast page. And with that, Scotty.
Yes, sir.
I think we can go right into the news of the day.
Yeah.
This news dropped this morning, and I thought it was interesting. We try not to do too much rumor and speculation here, reported as news, but this one looks like there may be, it may be more than just a rumor. The Illuminati reports that Green Lantern, Game of Thrones star Tobias Menzies, reportedly in talks to play Sinestro. So it looks like we may have our Sinestro.
Yes.
Fans will know Tobias from his stint on Rome. He played Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh.
Oh, wow.
On Netflix's The Crown.
Cool.
And also as Edmure Tully on Game of Thrones. So his body of work is great. I've loved him in each of those shows. I think he's a brilliant actor. I believe he's also in a show called The Turn, but don't hold me to that.
Okay.
I think so. Anyways, yeah, great actor. If he is our new Sinestro, that's pretty exciting news. What do you think?
Well, first things first, I'm just excited for the Green Lantern show.
Yeah.
Because Green Lantern is probably one of my favorite DC superheroes, if not my favorite DC superhero, and I would like to see him done justice on a screen. But I'm really looking forward to if we get a Sinestro heavy in the show, great, fantastic. If it's going to be ally like in the Ryan Reynolds one, then he turns at a certain point. I don't know. Right. Whatever. I want Sinestro to fight Green Lantern because I think that would be an interesting ideological adversary ship.
Yeah,
I think that looks awesome. I really love Mark Strong as Sinestro in the first one. But again, my favorite part of that movie was when Mark Strong turned into Sinestro and had the full suit after being tempted by the Ring of Fear. And so, yeah, that was it. And I know I've said that Green Lantern is my least favorite superhero movie, and it's precisely that, is that it was just like a perfect little nugget at the end of something that was awful. And it was like, if only you would set up
that little end piece on Aura was, that's what the whole show should have been, in my opinion. But hopefully that's kind of what we're getting here. I believe this is more of a Green Lantern Corps type show. and it looks like that's kind of what we're going to get. So if Menzies does take the role, he'll be joining the cast, Finn Wittrock from American Horror Story. He's going to play Guy Gardner.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, he's already cast. Also, Jeremy Irvine is playing Alan Scott. So we're getting Gardner and Scott with looks like maybe doing battle against Sinestro. I don't think they're going to do the hero villain flip like they did in the movie. I think we're gonna start out with Sinestro being a bad guy already with the Fear Corps. It kind of makes sense that we're gonna go, the Green Lantern Corps versus Fear Corps, and hopefully, goodness comes out of that.
Yeah. If I may interrupt for just 1 second. Hey, Mel.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Hi. It's great. It's great that things seem to be moving along for Green Lantern, and I'm real excited about this dropping. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I don't see a date, so I'm sure it's going to be. I would assume fall of next year.
Okay.
For this show, but
if we're in casting, then yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of my assumption.
Okay. Well, still,
good news. Another bit of news, kind of, comic book related. We do a lot of that stuff here. The leaked Flash movie promo teases even more DC heroes. Now, usually leaks. We don't try to cover too much leak stuff either.
Leaks and rumors, we never do. Anyway, getting into our second leak and rumor.
Right? Getting into our second leak and rumor.
It's Canada Day. No one's working.
Yeah. So I mean, immediately, everybody started getting contacted to pull this stuff off of their YouTube page or blog or what have you. And, oh man. So it happens from time to time, and I know they were pretty upset about it this morning. But the clip found on, but subsequently removed from Twitter. Of course, Twitter, right? Uses concept art. Depicts someone sitting next to Barry Allen in the Batmobile, which is driven by Michael Keaton's incarnation of the Caped Crusader. However, the individual's face is blocked out with a spoiler alert, like you've seen those like signs, like a diagonal sign, triangle sign or whatever. Spoiler alert sign is for like following that character around. I don't know if you were able to see it. I actually saw it, and it's pretty funny.
Oh, okay.
But
who was beside?
Well, there's a sign in front of their face, so you don't know exactly. But
did you get a sense? Did you have an idea?
People see, so they have the face obscured, but you see a sword, you see a shield, so people are thinking that it's probably Wonder Woman. It makes a lot of sense. But then, so. I mean, that's what I've heard. And some people say it might be some kind of incarnation of Robin, but I think that's going a little too far out there.
With a shield and a sword.
Yeah, I know. But I think, shield and a sword, I don't know if it's interpretation. These are concept drawings too. Because there were two main concepts. One was sitting in the Batmobile, and then the other was in this kind of like room. It was just very, very strange. So if you can find those still, I think you can find those art pieces still somewhere. And I know John Campea showed them on his show today. So if you're interested, you can go check those out.
Well, and if you're not interested in the Flash movie, like just in terms of the characters that are set to return, like the actors.
Yeah.
Like Ezra Miller is the Flash, obviously. Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck are going to be Batman. Sasha Calais as Supergirl. I don't know who Kiersey Clemens, Ron Livingston, Maribel Verdú, Suarez, Monica Jackson, and Rudy Mancuso will be doing. But I love Ron Livingston.
Yeah.
So,
right?
Yeah.
Kiersey Clemens is playing Iris West.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, and she was in Zack Snyder's
Snyder cut, right?
Yes. Okay.
So we'll see how that plays out. To tell you the truth, this whole Flash saga has got me very uninterested in this movie. I do like Muschietti. I think he's a brilliant director. I'm not a huge fan of Ezra Miller, nor his incarnation of the Flash in any of the movies I've seen him in so far.
Okay.
But Muschietti gets me excited. Knowing that this movie is actually on track to actually get a release sometime in the future kind of gets me excited. So, that's kind of where I'm at on these kind of leaks. I don't care. If Wonder Woman's in there, great. If they want to put some kind of alternate timeline version of Robin in there, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Whoever it turns out to be, let's just get the movie done and into theaters so we can see it. That's where I'm at.
I'm coming from a little bit more excitement. I didn't have that much animosity towards Ezra Miller. I'm super jazzed to see Batman, 2 Batmans. What's better than 1 Batman? 2 Batmans. Right. So, Batman. Well, no, I think in this case it's Batmans. Yeah. But like Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton, having Michael Keaton as Batman again is something that I never thought I would see again. And so that's fantastic. And if they can sort of, and I don't want to say this in a disparaging way, but if they can sort of make this like an off ramp to a different DCEU, or just opening up the possibilities of, no, all these stories, they happen in the DC cinematic universe, for lack of a better term. And it doesn't matter if they don't connect. These are all just stories. And so the shattering of that universe, if they try and tie it up in a little bow, then I'm not going to be as excited, but I am kind of looking forward to some sort of Days of Futures Past weird.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think about them actually focusing on the Flashpoint paradox?
Well, then I'm looking forward to it, because hopefully then we'll get Negan as, or the comedian as Thomas Wayne.
As Thomas Wayne, right?
Yeah. I forget the actor's name. I'm such a dunce right
Jeffrey
now.
Dean Morgan.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. So I mean, that's it. It's interesting. I mean, we always, with the Flash, especially with the TV show, it's always a crisis, right?
Yes.
Then they keep going back to that but it looks like, this Flashpoint paradox is kind of cool. If they're drawing inspiration from that, the animated film is awesome.
Yes.
If they're kind of drawing information, they're being informed by not only the comic run, but the movie, the animated movie, then hopefully we get something that's really good. And it looks like, it's chock full of good actors. So as long as the story is tight, and we pretty much have faith in Muschietti, we should have a decent film.
I like the Flash, and I'm looking forward to seeing his movie. Not as much as Green Lantern, but I will see the Flash.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Today is guess who turns 30 today, Scotty?
No, you do it. You do it. I can't come up with anything as epic as what is about to turn 30.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day turns 30 years old today.
Does that mean Terminator 2? Is Terminator 2 a Canadian? Terminator 2 was born on Canada Day, 1991.
I don't think he's a Canadian. But all right. He's an honorary Canadian on Canada Day.
Jim Cameron is a Canadian.
So
yes, Terminator 2 is a Canadian film. Thank you very much. I accept your apology.
Yeah. Released July 1st, 1991. You have it. You absolutely have it. You made a case and you stood by it.
Thanks, sir.
Let's I pulled the trailer. Want to see the trailer? The original trailer? Yeah,
yes.
Let's go right into that.
Dun, 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 dun. I knew it. 30 years, actually.
Yeah. Such an epic scene.
You have to protect him.
They know its face.
Stay here. I'll be back.
They know its mission. But there's one thing they don't know. This time, there are two. Terminator 2.
Stay down!
programmed to destroy. The other programmed to protect.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
I swear I will not kill anyone.
Oh my god.
Right? Oh boy.
Okay, so it's interesting that you bring up the trailer. First things first, in terms of comparing movie trailers from that era and the voiceover, because we did watch Baby Boy.
We did.
And so with the voiceover sort of describing what's going on. Now, did you find that trailer for Terminator 2 Judgment Day, did you find that to be a spoilery trailer? Or is that hindsight which dictates that you already know that Arnold is the good guy? Spoilers for Terminator 2.
I have two thoughts on that. One
Yes,
is,
sir.
I can't believe that actually got people to go into theaters and watch that movie.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a very good trailer.
All right.
And secondly, yes, I think it is hindsight that that kind of dictates the the spoilery nature of that trailer, because I still don't think it matters if you knew or not. But the only reason is because I saw the movie. So it's hard to look back and kind of make a judgment call on that, but. I would say I don't think it was that spoilery. And for the time, look, that's kind of what they did. It's just kind of what they did in trailers. Now, I think the narration and the voiceover in Baby Boy worked better in Baby Boy than it did here. But it's just it's of its time. It's 30 years old today, so I won't go too hard on it.
Well, it's possibly one of the last greatest practical effects science fiction action movies of all time. Probably the second last one, and then The Matrix.
Right, I agree.
So
ranking the Terminator films, I don't need you to rank them all, but is Terminator 2 number 1, 2, 3?
I'm going to say Terminator 2 is number 1, and then Terminator 1 is number 2.
That's exactly how I rate them. I think that it's a superior film, although it's a different film.
Mm-hmm.
This is an action film. The first one, I would say, is more of a horror movie.
Yes.
Or it's, at least it has that horror tone to it, right? More of a horror tone, kind of like Aliens.
Okay. Well, but in terms of that comparison, I understand completely.
I feel the same way about both franchises, kind of. But I do like Terminator 2 better than 1, but I love them both. They're 1 and 2 right there.
I'm thinking of my rewatchability. So, and which one do I revisit more often? And I revisit Terminator 2 more often than Terminator 1.
Yeah, me too. All right. Next up on the docket, we have Noah Hawley has written 2 Alien episodes for spring 2022 filming. And he says it's not a Ripley story. So Disney made it official last December that the Fargo and Legion showrunner Noah Hawley is developing an FX television series based on Alien film franchise. Speaking of aliens, details about the series have been scarce. Hawley previously teased this iteration of Alien would be set on Earth, whereas each installment of the film franchise has taken place in space or a distant planet. But he pulled back the curtain a little bit just to say, the first 2 scripts that he wrote, looking to make them next spring, he said.
Okay.
And that's about all you get. Just, that they're going to take place on Earth, which I thought was an interesting choice. Now, I wonder if that was because this kind of happened during the pandemic, that it would be easier. Seems to me you could use the Mandalorian type volume technology, the LED green screen replacement technology, more in alien landscapes, or it lends itself better. because landscapes are alien by nature, instead of having photorealistic views of planet Earth, where you say, "Hey, that kind of looks a little off." I thought it was an interesting choice. I wonder if that was born out of the pandemic, or if it's something that he just had in his head. I want to base this thing on Earth around this certain period of time in the aliens chronology, right?
Well, and I'm not so concerned as to whether or not it takes place on Earth. I just want to know when it takes place on Earth, because as we've seen with the AFP or AVP, pardon me, AFP, the AVP duology, those two steaming turds, if you put Alien on Earth in a contemporary setting, same with Predators, it takes away from everything. I think it should be somewhat either remote, like in the case of the first Predator, and I'm sort of putting Aliens and Predator in the same box, or Aliens. I almost give AVP 1 a little bit of credit because it takes place in the North Pole, so no one would know about it. It gets a little bit of a pass on that, but it has to be like, if it takes place at if it takes place at Gateway Station, then I'm fine with that. It takes place on Earth. That's great. That counts. But if it's like it happens in the Midwest in the comfy year of 1987, I'm going to be like, you killed it. You destroyed it. Thank you for Disneyfying something that used to be terrifying, or at the very least action-packed.
Right. Do you think it'll be set in the future or the past or present?
Hopefully the future, but if it is taking place in the present, then I'm already dismissing it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I have a feeling this is probably going to be in the future.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? It just kind of makes the most sense. So that way, I mean, obviously, then you can use whatever technology you need to build future set pieces. So I'm looking forward to it. Did you see Fargo or Legion?
I saw some seasons of Fargo. Is he like the showrunner for Fargo?
Yeah, and Legion.
Okay, no, I haven't seen Legion, but I have seen Fargo, and I did enjoy that. But also, that brings me, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to step all over Noah Hawley, because I'm far more interested in the Alien franchise. It's like, if you are going to have episodic television, and I have seen Fargo, does that mean it's all going to be sort of tense, sneaking around, scientific technobabble, followed by one action set piece involving, like, at one point a facehugger will jump out, and one point a chest burster will run by, and it'll be like building up to that one payoff, in which case an episodic format of an Alien show sounds very much like The Walking Dead, and I gave up on that a long time ago.
Well, I just don't know, because we just, the information coming out from, Noah Hawley's been really tight-lipped. Nobody's really talking about it. So I'm wondering if it's going, how they're going to approach it. It's an Alien Universe series, but are we even going to see any aliens? I'd be right.
If you make an Alien show and you don't add any aliens, then I've already left the beach. This is not a beach. This is a desert.
Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm just saying, this could be awesome, or it could be really, ho hum and, oh my God, why'd you do that? But I loved what he did with Legion. I thought that series was amazing.
Can you tell the folks about Legion? I'm going to be back in a second. I just have to let my dough again.
Yep. So what I really loved about Legion was it was a very unique way to tell the story and present that character. It was psychedelic. It was kind of trippy. I don't expect him to do that for Alien, but I do think like he did do that with Fargo. But I do think he's got a very unique perspective, I think, on both Fargo and Legion. So he must have had a really good perspective pitch to get the job in the first place, right? So
and also
something he had in mind struck a chord with the people over that are in charge of Alien, but obviously at FX as well.
Disney.
Because FX does put out really solid material. For
I
the most part.
I am fearful of the Disneyfication of aliens.
Yeah, I mean everybody. I mean that's a fear everybody seems to have with these properties that come under the Disney banner. So far, I guess you could say that yes, Marvel got Disneyfied and Star Wars got Disneyfied, but we're getting good content out of both of those.
But those
franchises.
two properties do lend themselves to being Disneyfied.
Okay.
And even when it does get dark, it's still the tone and the storytelling of it is dark, but it's not necessarily. You don't need Marvel to be gory. You don't need Star Wars to be like, maybe some blood would be nice. Like I remember Ponda Baba getting his arm cut off and there was blood there, and that was, something. But when it comes to Alien, like stuff blows out of people's chests. And
Right.
is Disney willing to go behind a chest burster scene? And if they are not, then it's not Alien. Because
Well,
one of the things that I want to see is what the hell are they going to do?
We've seen some gritty stuff come out of FX, so I'm not worried about that part of it.
Let's hope.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I think they're going to go where Noah Hawley wants to take it. I don't think he would have taken the job otherwise.
I think people like money.
Yeah, I mean, look, yes, you're right, but I don't think that's the complete driver for a lot of creatives that already have money, right?
True.
I mean, he's obviously he did a great job for FX on both of those shows. So I think we're in for a treat. We'll see. I mean, look, it could come out and be a complete waste of time, garbage pile. But
let's hope not. I just hope
not.
It's got to be in the future, and there have to be aliens. That's what I would like. If it takes place on Earth, those are my two requests.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope we get that. Up next on the docket.
Star Wars. One's mine. This is the Star Wars one.
You go for it because this one. Oh boy, this lady.
Okay, so I haven't read this article, but I am a defender of the Phantom Menace, and so Star Wars: The Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland says that the Phantom Menace was a big inspiration for the series. Apparently, now I'm going to go to the actual. See, don't worry, we rehearse and read these articles in advance, and by we I mean Steve does. Oh, creators. She's a creator who's working on a live action series for Disney Plus, expanding on all things Star Wars. And she had a personal experience with it, sexually. But no, she just, it apparently was a part of her coming of age and her understanding of the world. And she was a fan of and influenced by Knights of the Old Republic, the Clone Wars, and that they're Phantom Menace. And so I don't even know what the Acolyte is about.
Yeah, well, the Acolyte apparently, so it takes place, kind of coming out of the High Republic era. So apparently, it's going to be the dawning or rebirth of the Sith.
Okay.
Which is interesting. And I don't know how they're going to write it and how they're going to do it because, obviously Legends or the EU has a version of that. I don't know if they're gonna try to start with like Palpatine, or are they going to go to Darth Plagueis?
Yeah.
If they wanted to redo that Darth Plagueis book, awesome, because that book is amazing. But I don't even think she knows what that is. Just reading from her statement, that she never read that book. She has no idea what that is. So
she said she played Knights of the Old Republic.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, she played the game, but does she? I don't know. We'll see. So we'll see if it's probably going to be somebody we never heard before. I'll tell you what, this news didn't give. Every time news comes out about this show, it starts ticking down. My enthusiasm meter starts going in the reverse, and that's not a good thing. Like look, I get the Phantom Menace was a big deal, especially when she was 18, right? I get that, and I understand that. I know for a lot of people, the prequels were their introduction to Star Wars, and that's awesome. I actually always liked the prequels. I love the prequel era stories. That's my favorite era for storytelling in the universe so far. Outside of like not going way back to like Knights of the Old Republic.
Sure.
So I kind of understand where she's coming from that perspective, but I don't know, man. That along with some other things, I don't have high hopes for this show. I hope it's good. Like what we always say on this channel, we hope everything is good, and we go in with an open mind until we're proven wrong. So I'm hoping to be proven wrong about my trepidation for Acolyte. It was before any of this stuff started coming out, before she started opening her mouth about the show, it was my number one anticipated show next to Ahsoka.
Why?
Oh, I love the fact that we're going to tell the story of the rebirth of the Sith.
Oh, okay, yes.
So I'm like, okay, I'm down. Let's do that.
Aside from that, what else happens in that era of Star Wars? If you don't mind me, just like a quick bullet point.
I don't know where they're going to start. So I don't know really, because they started this in the middle of like the Old Republic and what we now know as Star Wars, starting with the Phantom Menace.
Yes.
They popped this High Republic in the middle, and I don't know, because I haven't read any of those books yet.
Okay.
Frankly, haven't been interested in them very much.
Okay.
Neither
is Leslie Headland.
Right. So I don't know how that's going. I don't know where we are in the timeline, what has happened in this High Republic era. It sounds like it's the height of the Jedi power, and it starts the decline to where we see in the prequel era, the Jedi are completely overconfident. They're so like, well, what's the word I want to say?
They're essentially the benevolent
They're so
empire.
overconfident that they don't see or feel or realize the rise of the Sith.
But they
fail on many levels. And Dave Filoni has talked about how that series shows how the Jedi fail.
Yes.
On many different levels.
Yes.
And and looking at the prequels in that with that light in that kind of mind frame really changes them for me. I liked them anyways as kind of a political dramas they were. But kind of stepping back and saying, wait, this is actually a tale of how the Jedi were cocky and overconfident and failed. And failed to see a rising evil, and were powerless by the time they were able to see it to do anything about it.
Well, we should put a pin in an entire prequel conversation.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you in terms of seeing that backstory and where the rise of the Sith will come into play, and then how that has slowly eroded to the point of the prequels. Acolyte still sounds interesting. And if you are taking your cues from the Phantom Menace, then architecturally, the way that it was the golden age of the Republic, I think that will be beneficial. And seeing those burgeoning steps towards the golden age that was ultimately their downfall. But we'll check it out. Although you're right, that statement, I don't even know what she was talking about. I tried to scan through it and then got completely unprofessional and stopped. Right. So I don't know. Why would you bring up the Phantom Menace and how it was your sexual awakening in the same thing? These are space wizard movies for kids.
Right. I know. So that's why it just, every time she talks about it, I'm like, ugh.
Stop talking. Right. Well, yeah.
Stop talking and go make a brilliant show that I'm gonna love, because that's what I want. Thank you.
I would like you to imply your themes instead of hitting me over the head with them, please.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay. Moving on, as they say.
Yes, please.
Our next item is Jason Blum is making a new Exorcist movie. The movie is, and he says the movie will be similar to the 2018's Halloween. Which is fine. People did like that movie. I don't think he's comparing the movies like apples to apples. I think what he's saying is it's kind of a resurgence, like a reintroduction of the movie. So I want to make a movie that works for both audiences, Blum says. And when he means both audiences, he said, I want to make a movie for people that know and love the first Exorcist and are furious that we're doing this, but somehow drag themselves to the theater. I want them to come out happy. and I want to make a movie that for people who've never heard of The Exorcist really enjoy. So it looks like from a producer standpoint, he's taking the track. I want to make something that's gonna be great for people who know and love the original, and for people getting their first introduction into this franchise can also say, be reintroduced or introduced to The Exorcist, which, by the way, is one of my favorite films of all time.
And I have seen it. I enjoyed it. I found it to be more of an adventure, like a supernatural adventure film, more than the horror terror masterpiece that I was promised. But I know a guy who.
When did you see it? Did you see it later in life, or when you were a kid?
Yeah, later in life. But I've seen pictures of people who were in the audience and fainted, and they were about my age or younger, because you were older in the 70s when you were older.
I think what I liked about this film, that I didn't find it to be particularly scary.
Mm-hmm.
What scared me was it was more of a psychological, like, oh my God, that kind of shit happens, right? At that age, I was like, I mean, you'd heard of possession, but you didn't really understand it. I didn't, or at least I didn't at the time. I was pretty young at that time. But
I'd seen Ghostbusters.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Well, and that's the thing, is that, like, and also it's one of those, my suspension of disbelief, once I start seeing a head spin around on someone, I'm just like, that is such a great special effect.
Yeah.
It doesn't be like, oh my God, that would hurt. It doesn't bother me in that way. And so I don't have that visceral, and it is much more of a building of tension and the psychological building. But once the supernatural becomes overt, as it does become in The Exorcist, I kind of lost all of suspension. And so I know people regard it as being a masterpiece. I still just see it as sort of being religious exploitation.
Right. If
and
that's
so
word, right?
it is now.
Yep. No, I can see where we're looking back and not having that same kind of, of its time being in the theater and of its time, that you can probably look back on it and think it's a little goofy even, but I still think the movie's I think the movie's good. I think like I said, it's on my top 100 for sure, movies of all time.
But like I find, well, and I'm not going to say it and compare, because there are going to be people who know way more about horror than I do, who are going to be like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Smurfs 2 wasn't even a horror film.
Right.
So, but like, I think it was a well-crafted, good movie, compelling movie. I was in it, but whenever the parts were supposed to get scary, I wasn't. It looked cool and made me feel the way I wanted to, but I was never scared. Like I was never, I was heightened. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting a different emotion from my horror movies.
Maybe you like. Are you a jump scare guy?
Oh no, I've fallen for many a jump scare. Sure.
Yeah, I don't like the jump scare. I've never liked it. Anyway.
No, but that's what makes and I don't like the cheap ones, but when they actually jump out at you and something
when
happens,
they're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that segues right into our next teaser trailer, our official teaser, they call it. This is from IFC Midnight. Now, this actually dropped like 3 weeks ago or so, but we didn't have a show then. So now that we have a show, I thought we'd say this trailer is awesome. It's a trailer for Neil Blomkamp's new film entitled Demonic. So we go from Exorcist to Demonic. So
I like the theme.
Let's take a watch, shall we?
Dropping you in 3, 2, 1.
I swear it was real.
Primi blodko og orpleinsleg. Don't be scared.
Oh, sweetheart. Do you know what this place is?
See, I'm fine with that. Everything I just said about The Exorcist was wrong because that looks awesome.
And I think I cut it off a little early. Let's go back into that stream real quick. Oh no, it's just that. Okay. Yeah, that right. That looks awesome.
That looks crazy cool.
So I obviously District 9 is I thought was a masterpiece for what it was. Right. Lower budget. I think they spent $30 million on that movie and it came out great. So I love that. I was not a fan of Elysium, nor was I a fan of Chappie. So he's like 1 for 2 or 3.
Yeah,
1 for 3 or 4 or whatever it is.
I'm 2 for 3. I liked Elysium.
Did you? Yeah. No, that makes sense. That probably spoke to you more than it would speak to me. But I did like District 9. Did you like District 9?
Oh yeah, I love District 9. I'm not going to argue with that. Yeah. But it's also nice for him to get out of the sci-fi wheelhouse.
Yeah. So this not too far out because this looks like it's sci-fi as well. It's like a sci-fi horror movie, right?
But I think it's something that kicks off. Maybe it gets him from like it's his diving board, and then it gets in because it does. You're right. It addresses some sci-fi concept at the beginning, but let's say that is inside the world, it certainly takes on a more supernatural element.
Can we talk about the construction of that trailer? I don't know who cut the trailer, but that's how you do a trailer. That trailer is awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And I wish more studios would look into some of these trailer houses. They just spit these things out and they're glossy and they're kind of formulaic and they don't really pull you in. That one, that was a great trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And
also rather graphic as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Demonic. Drops August 20th. Mm-hmm. So we'll look for that. IFC Midnight. There's a couple of IFC films now that we've shown on the show that I think we're both interested in taking a peek at. So one more story before we get to White Lotus. We have another trailer, White Lotus, that's coming out on Netflix. But before we do, I did want to touch on this really quick. MMA fighter Miriam Nakamoto to make debut in action romance Wildwood. International sales and production company Number 11 Entertainment has set Queen of Mean MMA fighter Miriam Nakamoto as lead in the action romance movie Wildwood. This will be her debut. Will play a young woman on the run from her mother and a pair of hired killers who stumbles into a small town where she's mistaken for a local girl who mysteriously vanished years later. So, okay, that's kind of been there, done that with the synopsis of the movie. Mm-hmm. But I do. This is another in a string, kind of MMA fighters kind of making their way into movies. Usually, it's very very high profile MMA fighters, champions and stuff. But for these smaller films, they are tapping that. You get I think what filmmakers really like about that is that they already have the physicality that they're looking for inherent in their being. So if they do have any kind of acting chops at all, they can foster that along, but they already have that, that action within them already.
Well, the 1980s were built on people who were cast because of physique and not necessarily acting abilities. I'm looking at you, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Hello, Schwarzenegger. No. Although you both got better eventually. But when it first started out, it was all about the physicality and how they could, the charisma and commanding a screen. And so as an entertainer in that physical ring, for lack, or not to make a pun, but I think it's great to see that. But I'm advocating for more physically fit action stars, and that's basically the end of my opinion. I don't really care.
It's not huge. I'm an MMA fan, so
No, I know.
So I thought that was interesting to let our audience know.
Absolutely.
So look out for that. I don't know if this movie's going to be any good. It sounds like a low budget movie. It'll probably go straight to VOD, which is fine. We'll check it out when it comes to a streamer near you.
Whatever happened to Ronda Rousey?
I believe she went into the WWE.
Okay.
So she went to make a ton of money with the WWE in the wrestling world. Makes sense.
Then Gina Carano started her own studio or something?
Yeah, she's working with Ben Shapiro's studio.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
It's a career move, I guess. Start by punching, then get into acting.
Yeah. Right? I mean, Mark Wahlberg started by trying to rap. He was a he was a rapper first.
I loved Good Vibrations. I still play it.
Right? I'm sure you do. It's in your playlist.
Yeah.
Heavy rotation on your playlist.
It's on my iPod, my Zune.
Oh, your Zune. Remember those? Oh, those were great. Okay, one last trailer, and then we'll get to your comments and questions. I've been looking forward to it. We got several came in from Facebook, which is awesome. So we'll get to those right after this. Let's just set up a little bit of setup. This new limited 6-episode series on Netflix, premiering July 11th. And this looks pretty interesting. So we'll play it, then we'll have a little chat, and then get to your comments.
The goal is to disappear behind our masks as pleasant, interchangeable helpers. It's tropical kabuki.
Aloha. Happy to be here.
We're on our honeymoon.
You're such valued guests. Welcome to the White Lotus.
Are they bigger?
Nicole, they're fucking huge.
I haven't seen them in a while.
It's cancer.
Swole balls.
Did they biopsy your balls, Dad?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Surprise! Mom! Am I interrupting? I know it's only your honeymoon. Oh my God, look at her face. Rachel, you were such a beautiful bride, but also very pale. But now you have a little more color and it looks great.
Thanks. You are so talented. Oh. I really know what you're doing. You think you could have dinner with me at the hotel tonight?
I get off at 7.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, like a couple minutes after 7 at the restaurant.
Sounds great.
Being a young man, this time right now can't be easy.
Why? Because we can't harass girls anymore?
No. Well.
I'm an asshole.
Were you an asshole?
I guess I'm just wondering what you might be able to do for us to make us feel better. No, I was actually trying to not be an asshole.
That you failed? Where were you? I just walked around.
Please enjoy.
Belinda is the best. Good, I'll make an appointment. If she's not booked with me.
Sometimes just watching them eat every night makes me want to gouge my eyes out.
Belinda! Belinda!
What I want is to speak to your boss. Fuck this place.
I don't think it's the most romantic hotel in Hawaii, do you? It's perfectly fine, but are you finding it very romantic?
Okay.
It's nice.
So obviously a big correction right off the top. I said Netflix. This is actually coming to HBO Max.
Yeah.
So this looks interesting. It's probably something I'll watch. I love Alexandra Daddario. Besides being one of the most beautiful women on the planet, I have liked her in just about everything I've seen her in. And also Steve Zahn. I love Steve Zahn when he pops up in these kind of roles. He's always good. He's always awesome to watch. Connie Britton, obviously, we love her. So yeah,
I like Molly Shannon.
And Molly Shannon, right? So it looks interesting.
Now is that the guy? Is that the same guy who made? What is his name? His last name is White. He was in School of Rock, and did he make Oh, he's like an offbeat, almost like a more cynical Noah Baumbach kind of filmmaker. It's a shard in my brain right now, and I'm familiar with that kind of humor, and I'm okay with it. It does look interesting. Thank heavens it's only 6 parts, because I don't know if I'd be able to take many more seasons or anything like that. But it does look interesting, although uncomfortable.
Right? Yeah, very uncomfortable
and funny. If you are into that sort of cringe humor, then it looks really funny.
And sometimes I'm not into that kind of cringe humor. It depends. If it's subtle, like in that trailer, yes. But if it's a little more, in your face, I tend to check out pretty easily. So basically, it says what it's about: a social satire set an exclusive Hawaiian resort. The series follows the vacations of various hotel guests over the span of a week as they relax and rejuvenate in paradise. But with each passing day, a darker complexity emerges. In this picture-perfect travelers, the hotel's cheerful employees, and an idyllic locale itself. So, obviously there's a little kind of murder mystery going on in the background, it sounds like to me. We'll check it out. Six episodes, probably go by pretty quick in a good binge on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
So that's that's probably how I'll enjoy that. Let's get to your questions. Enough of the news for the day.
Before we go, thank you. Or before we go to the chat, I'm going to go to the chat. Daniel Coyle, Mike White. Yes, you're right.
Yes, Mike White.
Wrote School of Rock, Pasadena, and Enlightened. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's right.
Thanks, man.
So let's go to the first one. Go ahead, Scotty.
Melanie Epps says, greetings from Belgium.
Greetings.
Hello, Melanie. How are you? How's Belgium?
Tim Possible. Greetings from Dathomir.
Dathomir?
Right. Dathomir is where Darth Maul is from.
Yeah, that sounded familiar. I knew it was something.
And the Night Sisters.
Melanie Epps says, I've never seen Terminator 2, and I thought Annie was a good guy because Arnie. I thought if Arnie was a good guy based on the trailer for what it's worth. Well, yeah, no. I'm going to wait till the next thing you say, Mel. Now Scott is going to eat me alive for not having watched Terminator 2. That's true, Mel. I didn't know that you hadn't seen Terminator 2. Have you seen Terminator 1? Are you familiar with film? Do you like exciting film? You should watch it.
Start with Airplane.
Tim Possible says T2 is the best. Agreed.
Agreed. I think we both agreed with that.
Arnold
is fire. That's a horrible impression. I don't know why I did it like that.
No, it was better than mine.
Daniel Coyle. I didn't think Phantom Menace was good, but I find it the most interesting of the prequels. Yeah, I would say probably that is the most interesting. I don't know.
I think we
should
think about that a little. We'd have to sit down and have an actual prequel conversation.
Yeah,
which we will.
Which we will. We'll absolutely do. I think that's a good call.
Daniel Coyle says, I'm not interested in prequels. Good point. Since the EU already beat that horse into the ground now and again. Daniel, not a lot of people have read the EU. Aside from a few snippets. Like, I'm basically the Thrawn trilogy and Knights of the Old Republic, a couple of throwaway novels, but I'm not as invested in the Old Republic as many people are. So we'll see what happens. And if
let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of goofy crap that happens in the EU. So I know a lot of people are EU loyalists, but man, there's a lot of goofy shit that happened. Also, Chewbacca dying because he got hit by a fucking moon or some shit. Come on. It's not all rainbows and unicorns either. It's pretty, there's some pretty badly written books in the EU, but there are some really good ones like that Thrawn trilogy. There's some other, Knights of the Old Republic and Old Republic books that are really, the Bane trilogy is amazing. So there's some good stuff there. Anyway, go ahead, Scott. Can you grab this one?
Yeah, for sure. Daniel Coyle says, I was distinctly unimpressed with Halloween 2018, but I can't fault Blumhouse's approach. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. And you know, Jason's really good. Jason, like we're buddies. Jason Blum is really good at. He's got that model down to taking, you know, not spending a terribly high amount of money to make these films, relatively lower budget. I mean, they'll go up, especially if it's a sequel, and they've already proven the model with the first film. He'll go up 30, 40, maybe even 60 million. But, you know, I think his sweet spot's right between $5 and $10 million. Make these really killer films, reboots or remakes. And if he's paying homage to what came before and the fandom there, and as well as trying to reel in new fans, I think that approach is good.
Not the biggest fan of Mike White, but I can't argue with such a packed cast, says Daniel Coyle.
Yeah.
And this is where Dan came in and corrected and enlightened me. Yeah, Mike White did write School of Rock, Pasadena, and Enlightened.
Now, I didn't see Pasadena.
Neither did I, but I am familiar with Enlightened and School of Rock.
Cool, Rock.
But I think that there was something, like, I want to say the movie was called Happiness, but I could be incorrect.
Dathomir is also a big part of Jedi Fallen Order game. I'm not a big gamer, so I have seen the cutscenes from that game. That game looks amazing, by the way.
And then Melanie Epp comes back and says, I have not seen Terminator 1 either. My favorite movie is You've Got Mail. Am I on the wrong channel? And the answer to that is, of course not. I am a huge Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan fan myself. I like You've Got Mail. I'm like
in Seattle.
Yeah, I just recently watched, what was that one with the guy and the stuff with the Meg Ryan and the Hugh Jackman and the time travel? It was great.
Oh, yeah. What's the name of that movie? Can't remember.
It was directed by James Mangold.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, wait. Missed one. There we go, Dan.
Pasadena is a very short-lived Fox soap opera from 2003. Oh, maybe that tickles something in my noggin. And then Fallen Order is very fun. It looks like a lot of sliding. It almost looks like a Uncharted but Star Wars skin, like a cross between Uncharted and Tomb Raider is what it looked like. I don't have a PS4. I'm an Xbox man myself, and so I don't get to play such games.
Right. Those are only for the privileged few.
Only the Sony people. Only the Sony people. I think last time I checked.
Okay, well, I think that's it. We're done went through all of the comments and questions. Again, we love when you guys engage like that. It not only gives us cool stuff to talk about, but it also helps us grow the channel, and we appreciate it immensely. So I think that's it for today, Scott. What do you say? Should we get the hell out of here?
Let's go get some beaver tails.
Okay. So
all right.
Coming up, obviously tomorrow we have the Friday free for all.
Yes.
We should have a couple of different guests. If you'd like to come on, hit us up in our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter. And maybe we'll have you on the show. Also Monday, like we said at the top of the show, we are not scheduling a show for Monday. 4th of July holiday is observed here in the States, so we will be taking that day off. But don't be surprised if we hop on for an impromptu something or other. I will try to get most of the cutout clips from this past week's shows up and scheduled, so we'll have content through the weekend and on Monday. But we hope to be back Tuesday, and if not, Wednesday, depending on how Monday goes. But that's kind of the schedule as it sits today.
Prepare for a long weekend. We're going to be on call starting Tuesday, but we don't even know if we're going to get out of bed. So we'll let you know, but don't worry, we'll be back sometime next week.
Yeah, we do. We are planning. I'm going to bring it up anyways. We weren't planning to bring it up just because it's still kind of in flux, but we think we're on for our Friday night Loki review discussion. So we're gonna if everything stays according to Hoyle, we will be doing that at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and
Yes.
we'll be discussing and reviewing Loki episode 4. That's over on Black Phillip Alvarez's channel, so find us there.
Yes.
And I believe Tim Possible will be joining us for that.
Looking forward.
Yeah. So that's great. We look forward to that if it happens. Yeah. Right now, Phil's work schedule is kind of a little up in the air, so we'll see if that goes. We plan on doing that.
Americans are so flaky for this weekend. Heavens.
We love our July 4th.
I love your July 4th. Anyway.
Anyways, so thanks again for watching, everybody. For Scotty R37, I am Steve Foley. Have a great day, everybody.
See you guys.